Good afternoon, everyone. So welcome and thank you for joining today's technical topic webinar. My name is Jazreel and I'll be hosting this session. Our webinar today is on the importance of systemic view in accident/incident investigation. So Dr. Aiseh Sultani, our unit lecturer at EIT, is our presenter for today. Just a bit about Dr. Sultani. She holds a Bachelor of Science in Railway Engineering and also a Master's in Civil Engineering in Disaster Management. She has a lot of experience across railway and safety, and she's also had a bit of an opportunity and experience finishing several railway projects, including design and construction. So I'll let Dr. Sultani introduce herself a bit more later. But before we kick off today's session, I just wanted to go over some Blackboard notification and sound settings. So first of all, we definitely encourage participation during the session, but because of that, we do expect some messages to go up in the chat box as Dr. Sultani presents. So we do recommend turning off all notification settings during the sessions before, and please, I guess make sure to do that beforehand. In order to turn off the notification settings, it is relatively easy. Just click on the settings icon at the very bottom right of your screen. Go to notification settings and basically just untick all the options. And then just to go over some common questions that we do get quite often. So regarding the presentation slides and session recordings, for everyone who have registered for this webinar, you will receive an email with a copy of today's full presentation slides. Just allow us 1 to 2 business days from when you complete the survey for it to come through your inbox. Just bear in mind that if you do not see it in your inbox, please check in your junk folder, as there's a chance that it might be there. With the certificate of attendance as well, if you would like to receive the certificate of attendance, please request it at the very end of the session. And to do this, you just have to fill out the short survey response, which we will provide all information at the very end as well. It will just be a QR code and a QR link for you to do that. As mentioned, it will be provided at the end of the session, so be patient until then. Once you submit your survey and we have received it, we will definitely endeavor to email out all the certificate of attendance within the next 3 to 4 business days after this webinar. Please bear in mind that after that 3 to 4 window time period has passed, the survey will expire and we cannot issue you the cert even if you email us. So make sure to just do that within this time frame. If you're a bit new to EIT or joining our webinar for the first time today, just wanted to talk a bit about us. So we are one of the only institutes in the world specializing in engineering. We currently offer a range of industry-focused courses, mainly across the core fields of engineering across civil, mechanical, electrical, and industrial automation engineering. So we offer courses from short professional development courses all the way through to a Doctor of Engineering degree. So all of our courses are offered online and also on campus for specific and selected courses, which means that students can study from wherever they are in the world, but also experience studying engineering in Australia if they want to. All of our vocational programs, as well as higher education degrees, are recognized and accredited by the Australian government, but we also have a number of courses that are internationally recognized under one of the 3 international accords, which are the Sydney, Washington, and Dublin Accord. So yeah, just a bit about us. And all right, I'll pass the time over to Dr. Sultani now to cover the rest of this session.
Hello everyone. I'm Aiseh Sultani, and I get my Bachelor of Science in Railway Engineer and get my Master in disaster management, mainly in safety management, and I have received my Doctor of Business Administration. I'm a railway engineer and I'm professional in risk management. I've experienced more than 15 years in light and heavy rail transportation system, in design and construction. And I've been as an investigator in different teams, especially in transportation part, and joined EIT in November 2020. Here, in this webinar, we will review what is an incident accident, and we review the importance of incident accident investigation in our workplace. And we see what is the stages of incident accident investigation. And after that, we review accident investigation model categories. We just mentioned them here, briefly review them. And after that, we see the systematic view in incident accident investigation and the importance of systemic view in incident accident investigation. But why we review accident and incident definition? Because all of us know that safety in the workplace is important for all employees, and it's our responsibility to is our responsibility that the workplace be safe for the worker, for the employee. Here at first, we want to review the definitions of different terms that maybe during the webinar, we review these kind of terms. At first, what is accident? What is incident? Normally, an accident is an undesired event or sequence of events causing injury, ill health, or property damage. But an incident is an event that could lead to loss of or disruption to an organization's operations, services, or functions, have a potential to be an accident. But what is near misses? The near misses is a described incidents where given a slight shift in time or distance, injury, ill health, or damage easily could have occurred but didn't this round. Here we want to, you see the picture here. Near misses accident. Here we have unsafe circumstances here, unsafe conditions. And in this time, the accident does not happen. The bricks fall, but the accident does not happen. We have not any injury in this case. It's a near miss case. But here, the accident happened. We have an injury case. It's important that in all of these cases, we report these events, we report them and investigate them to prevent any recurrence in the future. Maybe if in that time we investigate this situation and save the place, for example, we can use some barriers for this place, maybe the accident does not happen. Another definitions: event, action, condition, and barrier. What is the definition related to this term? Event is a change of a state in the system that is important enough to give it a name. It could be considered as any deviation from the norm. And action is the fact or process of doing something typically to achieve an aim. Condition, a state of the world that enables a certain class of state changes, and barrier, a state of the world that inhibits and prevents a certain class of state changes. But what is incident-accident investigation? Before we want to review the definition of investigation, what do you think about this picture? Why we have this picture here, but this iceberg? What is the connection between the iceberg and our topic? You can type in the chat box your answers. What is the connection between this iceberg and our topic, incidents, accidents? Direct and indirect cause of accidents, yeah. Insured and uninsured cause, there are unseen unsafe conditions which contribute to incident accidents. An accident waiting to happen. Awesome sentences. An accident waiting to happen, potential of accidents. Yes, all of the audience are on the right track. Yes, exactly. Here we could see that we just see the accident when it happened at the iceberg. We just see the accident when it happened. But if we focus on this part that we couldn't see, thank you guys for the answers. Root causes, thank you, root causes of the accident. If we focus on this part of the accidents, and we do our investigation in this part, because in this part we have incident in progress. Maybe in the future we don't have incident, it occur, and we have the accident case. And it's important that we do investigation in these stages, even before it happened. But what is an incident-accident investigation? An accident investigation is a structured process that attempts to uncover the sequence of events that produce or had the potential to produce injury, death, or property damage so that causal factors can be determined and corrective actions can be taken. Causal factors are that kind of causes that finally lead to accidents. But why do we investigate incident accidents? The importance of incident accidents. Some of the reasons here are here to determine the accident and incident cause, and determine the root causes of the accident, to determine the cause of an accident, to avoid spending money on accidents in the future, to prevent future accidents, to comply with the law and determine the total cost of an accident, to identify the sequence of events leading to an accident, to fulfill the legal requirements, or to determine compliance with applicable safety regulation. Thank you guys for the answers and definitions of the term. We have not A common agreement at the definitions of these terms is after your company, your codes in your field, that which definitions is suited for your company, for your case. Which events should be investigated? OSHA, Occupational Safety and Health Administration, which is a federal agency whose main objective is ensure and promote safe work environment for all employees. OSHA strongly encourage employer to investigate all incidents in which a worker was hurt, as well as all near misses in which a worker might have been hurt if the circumstances had been slightly different, maybe because of chance in time or distance, for example, between the people and the scene the accident happened. Maybe it does not happen at that time, maybe in the future it happened. Investigating a workplace incident provides employers and also workers the opportunity to identify hazards in their operations and shortcomings in their safety programs. Types of accidents incident to investigate. Absolutely, because of um, some constraints, for example, some time constraints, some budgetary issues, we don't have to have the high level of accident incident investigation in all cases. But how we could determine the types of accident? You could say that we have in different cases, we have the case of serious and major that usually investigated automatically. But in the cases that we have minor or near misses, indicators that point to conditions or practice that, if allowed to continue, could cause injury or equipment damage. Investigation of serious accidents often reveal earlier incidents of a similar nature that have been dismissed. An accident incidents with the potential for loss should be investigated. Here you can see in this column we have the likelihood of occurrence. And here we have the potential worst consequences of different adverse events, incidents. Here in these cases that is unlikely to happen or rare, and the consequences of them is minor, we do the low level of investigation. But for the cases that we have worse consequences here, in these cases, if the event happened in this case, and the likelihood, even the likelihood of them was rare, we use high level of investigation. We assign high level of investigation in this case, in this kind of cases. So till now, you're familiar with why we investigate different incidents, accidents in our workplace. Here we want to know the stages of incident, accident investigations. Till now, is everything fine? Just please show me a smiley face or thumbs up. We can we continue the content. We can roughly consider three main stages, but at the next slide we see that we can have more detail in the stages of accident investigation. Here is the process. We can assume three main processes, three main stage related to accident incident investigation. At first, we gain knowledge. We discover facts in here. We discover facts about the accident, incident, near misses. Maybe we collect data, we collect physical data from the scene. We interview with different witnesses. We collect different data. And after that, we have the list of different data here. It's important how we can get conclusion throughout these different findings. Collect data. We analyze them. After that, after we analyze them, we could find the root causes of the accident, why it happened. And after that, we could develop corrective actions in our investigation report. But here, when we focus on investigation procedure, we can consider 5 stages: visit the scene, gather and record evidence, conduct interview, evaluate evidence and draw conclusions, write report with recommendation, follow-up stages. Here, our main focus in this webinar is on this stage, how we could evaluate evidence and draw conclusions through our different findings, how we could analyze it, and what is the importance of systemic view to analyze these different findings to find the root causes of the accident. At the first stage, after you make sure that any injured person receives the appropriate first aid or medical attention and secure the scene, because it's important that you do not disturb the scene any more than is necessary to, for example, assist the injured person or to make the incident area safe. This includes any plans, substance, or structure associated with the incident, keep people not providing immediate and urgent assistance away from the area. And it's important that do not disturb the scene until you have had an opportunity to collect all the evidence. Check with one of the inspectors, for example, before removing anything from the scene for the further analysis, the data. And after that, you must make a team, make a investigation team, and have a plan, the planning procedures, because when we assume this accident investigation as a project, we could see here that we must plan what we can do and collecting initial information and determine task assignments for different members and coordinating internal and external communication. Communication in the field of investigation is very important. We can assume different facts, different data related to evidence, physical evidences, paper evidence-based, people evidences, photography or picture evidences. And we can conduct different interviews with people after we collect and photograph information such as location of the injured worker at the time of the incident, equipment in use at the time, substances in use at the time, and safety devices or controls used at the time, positions of appropriate guards, and the other data. We can conduct different interviews with people. And here you can see the good interviewing skills. For example, it's important that when you conduct interview as soon as possible after the incident, and personally interview everyone involved, including the injured workers if possible, witnesses, nearby workers, and anyone in the area at the time, and interview each person separately, put them at ease and approach the interview in non-threatening and non-judgmental manner. But as it's not the main topic of our webinar, we just review briefly how we conduct interview. Here, it's important that how we evaluate evidence and draw conclusions. We conduct different interview, we gather different information. It's important. Here we have data, facts, information. But how we can get conclusion through at these different findings is important. Here is the analysis stage of accident incident investigation. There are many theories about why and how accidents occur, and understanding them is important. An accident investigator must understand how an accident occurs in order to properly analyze it, find its causes, and prevent future accidents. Each accident investigator and company has a view about accidents occur and which theories they prefer, because we have different types of accident analysis models and methods that provides safety professionals with the means of understanding why accidents occur. And choosing an analysis technique here to get conclusions, to find the root causes, it's not a simple process because a wide range of methods are available, and each offering various theoretical and practical benefits and drawbacks. Furthermore, individuals engaged in accident investigation are subjected to various factors, for example, budgetary issues, time constraints, and these issues can influence their selection and usage of an analysis tools to find the root causes of the accident. There are many tools and techniques for structuring the investigation, analyzing facts, and identifying root causes. Even HSE does not endorse any one method. It is for you to choose which technique suit your company. And the value of accident causal model is to conduct accident analysis and have the take different accident plan. An accident is a process of breaking down this kind of informations, data into pieces until the investigator understands what happened. Then the investigator can analyze the pieces to determine ways to prevent the accident from recurring. Asking why is a crucial first step in discovering the causal factors of an accident. The events or circumstances that contribute to an accident are called causal factors. And correction of these causal factors at whatever level they may occur is what ensures that a particular incident will not occur again in the future. But what is root cause analysis? If you do not use analytic techniques, it is very easy to find only lower level of causal factors. Maybe some factors seem to be true as a causal factor of evidence, but it's important that you dig into the cases and find the root causes of accident. Why? But how? Analysis techniques is one of the techniques that you could find this kind of root causes. Using analytical techniques for every accident investigation lends consistently to your safety program. And there are many methods of accident investigation, accident incident investigation. We review this term and see that the value of accident causal model is to conduct accident analysis and prevention. We have different layers of causal factors. For example, the immediate causes, underlying causes, and root causes of the accident. Understanding why accident occur and how to prevent their recurrence is an essential part of improving safety in any industry. But what is the causal factor? It's important that we ask this question to find the causal factors of accident. Please take note to WH question. Who was involved or injured? Were there witnesses? Where did the accident incident happen? When did the accident incident occur? What were the immediate and basic causes? Why was the unsafe act or condition permitted? How can a similar accident incident can be prevented in the future? Here we want to review the importance of systemic view in accident incident investigation. But what is the engineered system? Why we say that it's important to have a systemic view to accident incident investigation, especially for more complex system. What is engineered system? Accident models beyond system theory consider accident as arising from the interactions between different parts of the systems. And whereas industrial safety models focus on unsafe acts or conditions and reliability, engineering emphasizes on failure events and the direct relationships between these events, and a system approach takes a broader view of what went wrong with the system's operation or organization to allow the accident to take place. Here we say, even if we have a failure in this part, we must have a controller and we must control it. Don't allow that this part affect the other part of the system. And even we control this part, fix the problem at the early stages of the incident. Here it's not important to just put blame on someone. We see the system as a different subsystems, and we see the interactions between different subsystems. Especially for the complex systems, it's important that we use a systemic analysis method to find the causes factor of them. Because for this complex system, even with just one changes in our inputs, we have unexpected and maybe severe consequences in our outputs, because the behavior of the systems in dynamic complex system is unhidden. We could see here the main characteristics of the dynamic complexity. But it's important that the dynamic complexity creates risk. In most cases, the unknown risks are caused by dynamic complexity, which lies hidden like a cancer until the symptoms reveal themselves. maybe with severe consequences. A key driver for the continued rise in analysis model and method numbers is the ever-increasing complexity of socio-technical systems and the resulting change in accident causation mechanisms. We can assume different types of category of models. At first, when the accident investigation emerged to the safety, we just use sequential techniques. After that, the epidemiological techniques emerge. After that, systemic techniques emerge to the era of accident incident investigation. But what is sequential techniques? I briefly review these concepts. Sequential techniques are kind of techniques that we just focus on why this incident happened and see the sequence of events, why it happened. We could use this kind of sequential techniques for one part of the system, simple systems, or for complex system even. But for complex system, in some cases, we want to just focus on one part of the system. We want to review that it worked properly or not. For example, here you can see how we could develop the fault tree. It's one kind of sequential techniques for the case of, for example, Titanic sea. Here we have the top event. The top event is the main event that have happened, our accident, and we ask why it happened. And we see the immediate causes after the accident happened in this level. It's happened because the accident, the event A or B. Here we use different gates because it has a Boolean or binary logic concepts. But why A happened? Maybe because C or D happened. Why D happened? Because F or and E happen. Here we use AND gate because if both of the cases happen, this event happened. And we continue until we could not contribute these factors anymore. And these are in the lower level, we find the basic causes of the accident, the root causes, when we could not develop it more, contribute the factors more and more. And epidemiological techniques are kinds of models and techniques that view accidents as a combination of latent and active failures within a system. For example, here we have different layers, different latent failures and active failures. They focus on these techniques in how to fix and fix, for example, latent failure at the early stages to prevent the accidents occur. But our main topic of this seminar, what is the systemic techniques in accident investigation? We want to see the importance of it and what is the systemic techniques in accident incident investigation. System theory is designed to understand the structure and behavior of any type of system rather than treating accident as a sequence of cause-effect events. It describes losses and the unexpected behavior of a system resulting from uncontrolled relationship between its constituent parts between different subsystems. So here we don't say that put blame on someone is just because of this human error. We see even human error as a part of a system. Here, for example, the relationship between this human error and the other parts of the system is important. For example, the relationship between human error and the management part, the regulations, the procedures. Here, so in systematic techniques is a new method to accident investigation is to fix the problems with focus on the interaction between different parts of the system. Why? Because in complex system, we have different interactions between different subsystems, organization, management part, and we could not easily in some cases use some sequential techniques and see why it happened. It's important that we focus on the interaction between different subsystems. And when you notice this part that even this subsystem has different factors, these subsystems have different factors, and it's very complicated how to combine these different factors together to get conclusion and find the root causes of the accident. Why? Because we want to take different action to prevent the accidents from occur again in the future. I want to ask you, till now, is everything fine? Show me a thumbs up. Thank you. Okay, we continue with the systemic Theric accident model. STEM. STEM is one of the accident incident investigation models with system theoretic base. In STEM models, consider systems as interrelated components that are kept in a state of dynamic equilibrium by feedback loops of information and control. In the previous slides review, that is important that we have a control parts in our system to control during the time the behavior of the system, because in dynamic systems maybe the behavior of the system during the time change, and it's important that we observe the behavior of the time during the time. It emphasized that safety management systems were required to continuously control tasks and impose constraints to ensure system safety. You see here, it's a rough sketch of a stamp model. For example, here we have different loops, and we have one controlled part and controller part. And we give a feedback, the feedback from controlled part to controller part, and maybe in control part take different actions, how prevent a failure, and also observe the system and observe the situation of the systems, is it okay or not, and if any deviations from the norm define and determine in this part, maybe some actions need to be taken, and the control parts give this recommendation to the control system how they could fix the problem, or even they have some problems. And they have different views here, different levels. So it's a hierarchical models. We have here the level of company, organization, even government. So here we have the interaction between the different parts of the system. It's a socio-technical model. But FRAM is a functional resonance accident model. Here a system interacts. We see that the system interacts with its context through a collection of functions that can be characterized by input, output, resources. Its need is control and real-time behavior. You can see here different functions of different subsystems. And here we review the relationships and interactions between different functions of subsystems with each other and see why accidents happen. Functions interact through these aspects. Please note that this is a functional view of a system that abstracts away from its internal components and concentrates on logical behavior. It is similar to the view of systems taken by structured analysis for real-time systems. But what is the main concept of analysis techniques and suitability? We reviewed that we can assume three main categories. Absolutely, we have different categories. These are there are not a common agree about these terms, the category. Here, just we want to review the concept of systemic view. And the locations of the boundaries here is not exactly fixed. And will be distinct in reality. Here we have a simple system that are loose coupled and easily manageable. They are highly system with high manageability. With this kind of system that we could easily manage the behavior and predict the behavior of the system. The behavior of the interaction between different parts of the system is easy. Here, in these cases, we use sequential techniques. For the systems that are tightly coupled, the behavior of the system are somehow unpredictable, but even when we have any deviation from the norms in unaccepted case, it's we could manage it. It's highly manageable. For these cases, we could use epidemiological techniques, and for the system that are tightly coupled together, and they are low manageable, we could use systemic techniques. We give this table, this square, just in order to choose which category of analysis techniques best suits an individual needs. It helps you and it uses as a starting point to consider the type of system being analyzed. Here we review the behavior of the system, that we see that we could use the systemic analysis to find the root causes of accident. So till now, in accident investigation process with systemic view, we collect different data and evidences. We analyze them, for example, with systemic view in complex system. We find the root causes of the accident. After that, it's important that we write report with recommendations. After we find the root causes of the accident, we write report with appropriate recommendation. Accidents report should be written for major accidents, injuries, fatalities, property damage, and even near misses. We see the importance of reporting even the case of near misses when the accident happened with potential for major injury or damage, and even in your workplace. Please notice every near misses. It's important because maybe we have unsafe conditions, and it's important that we fix the problem. A report should include also a description of the accident sequence. We have here the sequence of events that finally lead to accident. It's important that we have this time sequence, event sequence. The facts and analysis, causal factors, and corrective action. This professional document will be used not only for documentation, but also it's important to prevent future accident by initiating the corrective action. So after we develop our report, it's important that we initiating the list of corrective action. In this list, we have the root causes here. And here, for example, in another column, we review the what is the corrective actions related to these root causes, how we could fix it, how we could fix this kind of root causes, how we could, and recommendation. And recommendation must be in detail. It must be clear. And after that, it's important that we determine who is responsible for this part. And the time, we must determine the time for the action, for example, within 1 month for this action, or for the emergency cases, for example, 1 day. And after that, in the next exercise, we see that we have the follow-up step. Here, we observe this recommendation and see does it fix or not during the time. And it's important that accident reports at least contains these parts: methodology, sequence of events, facts and analysis, causal factors, corrective actions, and conclusions and summary. And in the last step is follow-up step. The follow-up steps here, we take some corrective action. It's important that we observe it, we develop corrective actions, and we follow up corrective actions. It is fix the problem or not. Maybe this corrective action is not occur for our case. Maybe we must take another action to fix the problem. It's important that in follow-up steps, we check that the corrective action has been completed correctly. First, make certain that corrective action works to prevent accident. First, is it completed? Is it works? Ensure that the corrective action is being used, and be proactive. And it's the end of our unit. And after that, I want to emphasize again, in the new accident investigation, it's important that do not just put blame on someone and say this worker put blame, for example, place blame on the worker and see it's the code of the accident. It's not the real code of an accident. As a systemic view to accident incident investigation, it's important to simply, if I want to say, see the interactions between this part and the other parts of the system with systemic analytic method to see the interactions between this part and another parts. Even, for example, if the worker slept at the night, and here someone, for example, said that it's because of the fault of the worker, place blame on the worker, but it's not true because maybe it's because of the bad night shift. Maybe we have some problems in procedures. Maybe the person get not enough training in the workplace. Maybe it's related to procedures. So it's important in the new era of accident incident investigation, have a systemic view in accident incident investigation. And even all the humans, all the workers, employees, managers, even standard, all of them for us is our subsystem. We could review the interactions between different parts of the system and the behavior of subsystem. It's very important that here in our system, we review the interactions between different parts of the system. And thank you for your consent to this webinar. It's the end of this webinar, and just
Yeah. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Sultani, and obviously thank you, everyone, for participating. I saw a lot of really good questions in the chat box just now. We definitely will have time for a bit of a short Q&A soon, and that's where we will get to a few of your questions. But yeah, just before we proceed to that, I just wanted to mention our upcoming courses as well as our upcoming webinars that we have scheduled, which you might be interested in. So the very next webinar that we have, sorry guys, there might be a bit of an issue with the loading of slides, but yes, our next webinar would be on the 3rd of August. This one will be on protection / technical issues when implementing renewables and alternatives. This session will be presented by our experienced professor, Professor Akhtar here at EIT. He is recognized internationally and nationally for his research, and also he also has a lot of experience in the education space. Then we also have another webinar on the 10th of August. This one is on CFD simulations of supersonic intake ducts. This one will be held at 6 p.m. instead of our usual 3 p.m. sessions. This webinar will be presented by Mr. Vijay Kumar, who is a qualified aerospace engineer with over 11 years of experience using CFD methodologies to simulate industrial and academic problems. So basically all our technical webinars are held weekly. We try to every Thursday. There are sometimes additional sessions that we have during the week, but they are usually held at 3 p.m. Australian Western Standard Time, and they are all online. If you cannot make it, these sessions are recorded, and if you register, we will be able to email you the slides as well as the recordings after the session. So yeah, if you are interested to attend, you can head over to register on our news and events page. I've also included them on the slides right there. All details will be on our EIT website. We have a couple of webinars scheduled over the next few weeks or so. So yeah, please check them out. For our upcoming courses, also just want to mention a couple. just in case you're interested in any that's scheduled across this year or even next. So we have our professional certificate of competency courses. These are our 3 months professional development, and they are short courses. We have a couple across this year, and there are multiple intakes throughout the year. We recently just had a couple of new professional competency courses renewable energy. We have one in building information modeling as well, and another one in industrial Internet of Things, which is having its first intake in November 2022 this year, sorry. And then we also have our advanced diplomas and diplomas programs, which are also having multiple intakes across the year. So make sure to check over on our website on our schedule page to those qualifications, and it provides a credit pathway into bachelor's or master's. So if you meet the eligibility criteria and you want to obviously pursue a higher qualification with us, that's a really good starting point. These grad certs and undergrad certs are only 6 months long. And then we also have our on-campus programs. We have the bachelor's, master's, and a doctorate of engineering for our on-campus degrees, and they're available to study on our Perth or Melbourne campuses. So a number of these bachelor's and master's qualifications are accredited by Engineers Australia, and they are also recognized by international accords, specifically the Sydney and Washington Accord. So you have the option to apply directly or through one of our EIT education agents if you are an international student. So there are those options. So yeah, if you are interested in any of these courses I've just mentioned, or you want to find out more about the other courses that we offer, you can always visit our EIT website or the schedule page, which I've also included there on the slides. And yeah, these will be the links and QR code to the certificate of attendance. Don't worry, you will have time to fill that in. But yeah, that's all from me. We can proceed to the Q&A session now. If you have any questions, please go ahead and ask Dr. Sultani. I will also get to we will also get to some of those questions that you mentioned in the chat box. Right.
Thank you, Razel, for your comprehensive introduction and supporting us in this webinar. I just want to answer some questions that during the slides asked, for example, if one of them I think Albert asks, is there a reason why there is no fourth category? No, there is no reason. Maybe in the future we see that even systemic review did not meet our requirement, does not meet, and we consider another category. And even if we have another categories, it's not just fixed. For example, in another sources, we have another category that based on a structural order relationships between different parts of the system, and according to that category, the accident causation models divided into parts: linear models, nonlinear models, and after that nonlinear model divided into 4 parts: human-based models, statistic-based models, and energy-based models, and systemic-based models. It's another view to this category. It's not important that we use which kind of category. We categorize them, summarize them in different tables, categories, diagrams to review them. And we want to review the main characteristics of different systems. I don't know, Albert, is it okay? to get your answer. Does it make sense or not? And Walter said that systemic technique is a new method developed by scholars, which came to be added amongst other in accident and incident investigation. Yes, absolutely. Because during the time, the investigators see that the other techniques is not good and does not meet the requirement, so they change. What are the examples of near misses? At the cases we see that the accident does not happen because the distance between the worker and the brick. Maybe it's because of the chance, but maybe in the future we don't have these kind of distances. So it's the case of near misses. Here the accident does not happen just because of the chance or the distance between the people. But some safety systems are not practically implemented to prevent an incident to real working environment, and cases are not followed accordingly to help to improve the incident in future, and many are not reported, especially the minor ones which they turned out to be serious injury that could be prevented. Yes, because of some constraint in our budget, in our time. In most of the workplace, we have some of these cases, but for you as a investigator, as a safety professional, it's your duty to at least report this kind of near misses. And
Yeah, I think we have a
if
question
someone is
from
sick on
Leandro.
site in his or her room and cannot report to work, can we report it as either a disease or illness case? Yes, maybe if affect the other parts of the system, or maybe we don't have any substitute person. Yes, we must report it. We have to report it.
Yeah, sorry, Dr.
And
Sultani. I think we have
I think
another
PPE, personal
question
protect equipment
about
is another issue of incident. Yes. Can I?
Dr. Sultani. Do you want to
I
answer the
think
question
there is
about
no another
failure mode
question
effect
related to this
analysis?
topic. What about? Yes, FMEA is another model. It's not a systemic view. In our course MSR 502, we review a FMEA model. It's applicable for different techniques. Here we don't have enough time to review this kind of hierarchical models, but FMEA in most of the cases is not a systemic view. And thank you for your consideration.
Yeah, is there any other questions, guys? If you can just post in the chat.
Thank you, Team Prayer. And
Yeah,
thank you, everybody,
I think there were a couple of
for your.
questions asking what
Thank you,
courses
everybody,
this
and have a
webinar
great day.
might be relevant to. We have the masters in safety, risk, and reliability. We also have the grad cert in safety and risk and reliability engineering. So those might be courses that you might want to consider. But maybe Dr. Sultani, if you want to speak more a
The
bit about.
course MSR.
Yeah, so as Dr. Sultani has mentioned, it's this webinar would be very related to the course MSR 502. Yeah, sorry. There are still people asking about the link for the webinar recording. We can only send that within 1 to 2 business days after this session, so we won't be able to do that right away. So please be patient while we get that out to everyone. Is there any other questions related to today's topic? If you guys do have any questions, please post them in the chat. Yeah, we have another question. Are bow tie drawings still a useful tool in investigations? Dr. Sotani, are you able to answer that
I think
question?
there is no any
Yeah,
problem, no
there.
question related to the topic. Thank you, Josel. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, that's all right. Thank you, everyone. So yeah, we will just end the session here. If there's any questions that we were not able to get to, you can email us at our webinar contact, or if you post that in the chat box, or if you have questions more specific to the topics covered today, you can email them maybe to Dr. Swatani if she's happy to answer them. But yeah, thank you, everyone. I'll end the session here. Yeah, and we will see you guys in our upcoming webinars.